My dear students, welcome to NEET second session. In this class, we will be learning some bits regarding invertebrate biodiversity. In the last class, we covered the diversity of protozoans. Now, let us concentrate on the diversity of porifera and coelenterids. The term porifera was coined by Robert E. Grant. The term porifera was coined by Robert E. Grant. Phylum Porifera includes sponges. That means the only animals that are included under this phylum Porifera are sponges. Porifera means pore bearing animals. Entire body of sponge is perforated. It looks like a sieve. Because of the sieve like body, the name Porifera is given to this phylum. Parazoa means partial animals and sponges are included under this. Naturally, whenever you happen to see a sponge, you don't think that it's an animal because it is sedentary, it is leading a fixed mode of life. So, previously, scientists thought that they were not animals. Later, their animal nature was established because of certain minute contractions and expansions. After knowing this, they are also animals. After knowing the fact that they are also animals, they are included under Parazoa. Parazoa means partial animals because they are not exhibiting certain characters of animals like locomotion. They are treated as partial animals. Unique system present in sponges is canal system. This canal system includes the system of water currents. The water enters through ostia, flows in the spongiocele and comes out through the osculum. This pathway of water from ostia, spongiocele, osculum and to outside is called canal system. And this canal system is unique and it is peculiar only to sponges. You don't find this canal system in any other animal phylum. Cavity of sponges is called spongiocele. That means the cavity that is present inside the body of a sponge. The cavity that is present inside the body of a sponge is called spongiocele. It is not a coelom. The term coelom is not applicable here because the coelom should be covered by mesoderm. Here there is no mesoderm at all because the sponges, they have got only epidermis and endodermis, namely pinacoderm and coenoderm. There is no mesoderm in case of sponges. As a result, you can't apply this particular term coelom to the cavity. The cavity that is present inside the body of a sponge is simply called spongiocele. That's all. Spongiocele is also referred to as paragastric cavity. The term paragastric cavity is applicable to the cavity of the sponges. This is the other name given to spongiocele. Ostia are the inhalent pores present in sponges. Water enters into the body of a sponge through ostia. Hence, these ostia are also called inhalent pores. Osculum is the exhalent pore because the water comes out through the osculum. Ostia are numerous in number. You can find umpteen ostia on the body of a sponge, whereas osculum is only single. Unique cells found in sponges are choanocytes. These choanocytes, they contain collar-like structure like this and they have got one flagella. And because of the presence of this collar-like structure, these choanocytes are also called collar cells. So these are the unique cells that are exclusively found in case of sponges only. You don't find these choanocytes in any other animals except sponges. And in these choanocytes, the digestion occurs in case of sponges. We have already learned that the digestion in protozoa is intracellular, that occurs in the food vacuole of a single cell of the protozoa, whereas these sponges are multicellular, and in this multicellular sponges also intracellular digestion takes place inside these choanocytes. Next, reserve food is stored in thisocytes of sponges. Reserve food is stored in thisocytes of sponges. Thisocytes are the cells of sponges in which the reserve food material is preserved. Sponges are diploblastic. I already told this. The two layers, namely ectoderm and endoderm, in case of sponges, are referred to as pinacoderm and choanoderm. Pinacoderm is lined by pinacocytes and choanoderm is lined by choanocytes. I told that choanocytes are nothing but the collar cells, and hence sponges are diploblastic. Sponges exhibit cellular grade of organization. In the last class, I told that protozoans exhibit only protoplasmic grade of organization because the protozoans are made up of only single cell. Whereas sponges, being multicellular in nature, they exhibit cellular grade of organization. Protozoans exhibit protoplasmic grade of organization. And now let us see some examples of sponges. There is one sponge called Chalina. It is commonly called dead man's fingers. Dead man's fingers. Let us go to the next slide. Hyalonema is called glass rope sponge. Nema means thread. Hyalo means transparent like a glass. Because it looks like a rope made up of transparent glass, this sponge is called glass rope sponge. So Hyalonema is commonly called glass rope sponge. Sponge that is given as gift in Japan is Euplectella. Normally we will be giving so many gifts during certain functions. Especially during wedding, we offer so many gifts. In Japan, this sponge is given as gift, and the name of that sponge is Euplectella. And common name of Euplectella is Venus flower basket. Sponges exhibit greater regeneration power. Sponges exhibit greater regeneration power, because you know very well that if the sponge is cut into small pieces and if you throw them again in the water, they imbibe water and they start growing. That means sponges exhibit greater degree of regeneration. Sponges exhibit greater degree of regeneration. And sponge body contains certain skeletal elements, and these are referred to as spicules and spongin fibers. Spicules and spongin fibers. That means the skeletal elements that are found in the body of sponges are either spicules or spongin fibers. And these spicules are either made up of calcium carbonate or silica. Spicules of the sponges are either made up of calcium carbonate or silica. Spongilidae family includes freshwater sponges. Normally all the sponges are marine in nature. You don't find a sponge in a freshwater, in a river. Majority of the sponges, they are present in oceans. But there is one family called Spongilidae that includes freshwater sponges. Amphiblastula and Parenchyma are the larval stages of sponges. And surprisingly, if you observe the larval stages of sponges, adult sponges are sedentary or sessile. That means they lead fixed life. Whereas these Amphiblastula and Parenchyma larvae of sponges are free swimming. Normally, in case of any sedentary animal, you can find free swimming larval stages. And these free swimming larval stages are responsible for distribution of the species uniformly. By including free swimming larval stages in a life cycle, overcrowding of one particular species within a particular area will be simply avoided. Because sponges being sedentary, they can't move. If they start reproducing at the same place, and if the colony size increases in the same place, it leads to the crunch of food materials. It may lead to the sudden deterioration of food materials or environment also sometimes. So, in order to avoid overcrowding, normally sedentary animals will include free swimming larval stages. That means the larvae of sponges like Amphiblastula and Parenchyma, they go on swimming in the oceanic water currents and they settle down wherever there is favorable environment. Yeah, now let us come to coelenterate. Cnidarians are also diploblastic. Cnidaria is the other name given to coelenterata. Cnidarians in which mesoglea is extensively developed are called jellyfishes because of the extensive development of gelatinous mesoglea. These are called jellyfishes. Mesoglea is not considered as a third layer. Although mesoglea is present between ectoderm and endoderm of the coelenterates, they are not triploblastic, they are diploblastic only because mesoglea doesn't have any individual layer existence. It can't be considered as a separate layer. Two stages found in the life of coelenterates or cnidarians are polyp and medusa. Normally, these stages will alternate with each other in the life cycle, and this alternation of polyp with medusa in the life cycle of cnidarians is called metagenesis. Metagenesis is nothing but alternation of generations. Polyp is cylindrical, whereas medusa is umbrella like. And these two structures, namely polyp and medusa, will alternate with each other, and this phenomenon is called metagenesis. Let us go to the next slide. Cnidarians exhibit tissue grade of organization. Protozoans exhibit protoplasmic grade of organizations. Sponges or poriferans exhibit cellular grade of organization, whereas cnidarians, for which Hydra is the best example, cnidarians exhibit tissue grade of organization. Symmetry of cnidarians is radial symmetry. C. anemone is the best example of coelenterate. C. anemone is the example of coelenterate. And Hydra is a very common example of coelenterate, of course. Cavity present in cnidarians is called coelenteron. And this coelenteron is also called gastrovascular cavity because digestion takes place within the coelenteron, and after digestion circulation also takes place because of the movements of this coelenteron. Because coelenteron is performing the duties of both digestive system and circulatory system, it is called coelenteron. Coelo means cavity, enteron means intestine. Lack of digestive system and circulatory system within the coelenterates is compensated by this particular coelenterates. But unlike real body cavity, unlike true body cavity, as in case of human being, this coelenteron has got disadvantage. That is, coelenteron, because it is not a true body cavity, coelenteron has got only one opening. It has got only mouth. You don't find any anus in Hydra. On the basal side of the Hydra, you don't find any anus. That means coelenteron is having one disadvantage because it has got only one opening in the form of mouth. That means Hydra cannot feed while it is adjusting, and it can't adjust while it is feeding. Both digestion, that means both ingestion, not digestion, both ingestion and egestion take place only through mouth. That is a disadvantage. Both extra and intracellular digestions occur in cnidarians. I already made it very clear that in protozoa the digestion occurs within the cell, that too inside the food vacuole. That means in case of protozoa the digestion is intracellular, and in case of sponges the digestion occurs in the choanocytes. Choanocytes are the cells that are unique to the sponges. That means even in case of sponges, the digestion is intracellular. But coming to coelenterate or cnidarians, the digestion is both extracellular and intracellular. Extracellular digestion first occurs within the coelenteron, because I already made it very clear that the coelenteron performs the duties of digestive system and circulatory system. First extracellular digestion occurs within the coelenteron. Later, this partially digested food material is absorbed by certain cells that are lining the gastrodermis, and the further digestion or the remaining digestion occurs within those cells. That means the digestion in the coelenterate is first extracellular followed by intracellular. Both types of digestions occur in the coelenterates. This provides a wonderful clue for the evolution of the process of digestion from intracellular to extracellular digestion. Intracellular digestion is the most primitive type of digestion. Extracellular digestion is the most advanced type of digestion, whereas coelenterates provide a representation for transition stage, where both extra and intracellular digestions occur in cnidarians. Yeah, now the next bit is exoskeletal structures secreted by cnidarians are called corals. The Great Australian Barrier Reef is the biggest coral reef in the world. And you remember this bit? Planula is the typical larva of coelenterates. Aurelia is commonly called jellyfish. I made it very clear why it is called jellyfish, because in jellyfish you find extensively developed gelatinous mesoglea. Ephyra and Scyphistoma are the larval stages found in the life cycle of jellyfish or Aurelia. So, digestion that occurs in coelenterates is both extra and intracellular. Aurelia is commonly called jellyfish. Ephyra and Scyphistoma are the larval stages found in the life cycle of Aurelia. The Great Australian Barrier Reef is the biggest coral reef of the world. Yeah. I told that coelenterates exhibit tissue grade of organization. For the first time, nervous system is found in cnidarians. In Hydra, you find one nervous system that is called diffuse type of nervous system. The type of nervous system that is found in coelenterates is called diffuse type. It is spread like a nerve net. Coelenterates are also called stinging animalcules because they contain certain stinging cells called nematocysts, and with the help of this nematocysts, they sting the other animals, especially they sting the prey animal. And whenever they sting, they inoculate or they inject one toxin called hypnotoxin into the body of the prey. Now the prey is paralyzed because of the poison injected into the body of the prey, namely hypnotoxin. They got paralyzed. Then coelenterates devour the prey conveniently. Yes, ctenophores are called comb jellies. Ctenophores are called comb jellies. Nematocysts are the stinging cells present in cnidarians. Because of these stinging cells, they are named as stinging animalcules. And the poison that is present in nematocysts is hypnotoxin. Toxin means poison. The poison that is present in the nematocysts of coelenterates is hypnotoxin. Daphnia is the favorite food of Hydra. Every individual on the earth will have their own delicacies. Like that, Hydra has got its own delicacy, and the favorite food of Hydra is Daphnia. Hydra identifies the prey because of the presence of glutathione. Because of the presence of glutathione, Hydra identifies the prey. This is very important for PG set. It may not be important for NEET, but that is important for PG set zoology. Hydra identifies the prey because of the presence of one chemical called glutathione. Yeah, so we have learned nearly 50 bits. I think the number comes to 47. We will try to compensate another 3 bits in the next session. This is the second session. I promise I'll be doing another 48 series. Total 50 will be done. Let us have increased the number because of the encouragement we have received. We are increasing the number. We will make it up to 50. Okay, thank you very much and good luck.